Hello everyone. In this video, we will explore together the iteration activity in BIZUIT Designer, a key tool for processing data in cycles. We will demonstrate how to configure this activity to iterate over a set of records obtained from a SQL query, and how to handle scenarios where we need to interrupt the iteration in a controlled manner. To begin, we will define a variable called vCustomerName, of type string, with no initial value. This variable will temporarily store the value of the customer being iterated at each step of the cycle. Next, we will set up an SQL statement activity to retrieve a dataset. This query will fetch 5 customers from the customers table of the Northwind database. Once configured, the SQL activity will return a result set that we will use as input for the iteration activity. We will add the iteration activity immediately after the SQL one. This activity lets us go through each record returned by the query one at a time. During setup, we'll open the node editor to specify the dataset to iterate. In this case, we will bind the output of the SQL activity as the multiple data node to be processed in the loop. Within the iteration, we'll add an assign values activity to select the node currently being iterated from the iterate customers activity. There, we'll configure the assignment so that the vCustomerName variable receives the value of the current customer name. This will allow us to observe how the variable updates at each step of the loop. We'll place a breakpoint at the beginning of the iteration to execute the process step by step. In the inspection window, we'll first review the full result returned by the SQL activity, confirming that the 5 customers were retrieved correctly. Then, we'll advance through the execution to observe how vCustomerName is updated with each customer name as we move through the dataset. This will let us observe, in real time, how the iteration activity processes the data in a controlled and sequential manner. Next, we'll set up a scenario where the iteration stops when a specific condition is met. We'll edit the activity's configuration to check whether the customer ID equals a route. If this condition is met, the iteration will stop immediately, ending the cycle and allowing the process to continue to the next steps. We will run the process again and move forward step by step to observe how the variable vCustomerName is updated. When it reaches the record with customer ID a route, we'll see how the iteration halts automatically. This behavior is especially useful when we find the information we were looking for and don't need to continue processing the remaining records. In this video, we have learned how to use the iteration activity to process datasets step by step, configure it to update variables during the cycle, and even how to interrupt it under specific conditions. This activity is an indispensable tool in BIZUIT Designer for managing data efficiently and in a controlled manner within business processes. Thank you for joining us in this walkthrough. We hope this demonstration helps you apply the iteration activity in your own flows. See you in the next video.